Welcome back. This time we're talking about the top 10 movie trailers from 2016. Now I know I haven't put my top 10 movies of 2016 up yet, and that's because I'm still waiting on a few other films to watch before finalizing my list. I've been making top 10 movie lists for almost a decade now, and I usually wait a few weeks into January so I can catch those last few holdovers. And in fact, I'm not sure if I've ever had a top 10 list that didn't have at least one movie that had been released in January. So that's my excuse on why I don't have my top 10 movies up yet, but to make up for that, that's why I decided to do this top 10 movie trailers list, because I've always been a fan of movie trailers for years and years and years. I used to actually collect them on my computer and just save them so I could just watch them, because a good trailer is almost a movie in itself. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I take trailers seriously. I actually did a couple trailer rants where I was complaining about how trailers were spoiling key moments in movies. And what you're going to find as trends with my favorite trailers are the fact that they're mostly teaser trailers or the first trailers released, so they don't give you a lot of plot details. And second, they're going to have a great audio track, either some music from the film itself or some other score that they borrow, or just a great song. So let's jump into this. But first, let me talk about a couple trailers that just missed out on the list. And those include the trailer for Silence, the trailer for Arrival, and the Comic-Con trailer for Suicide Squad. Those were all trailers I really enjoyed. They just did not make the cut for the top 10. But moving into that top 10, let's start with number 10. And that is the Midnight Special trailer number 1. This was a smaller release from early in the year. A film that I had never heard of until I saw the trailer, but it was a movie that as soon as I saw the trailer, I wanted to see the movie. It has a great opening scene that's very quiet, kind of sets you on edge because you don't know why these two men have this boy. We hear on the television that he's been kidnapped, and it's shortly thereafter that the music kicks in and we get to see some hints of what the story is, that this boy has some powers, that there's people after him, and that these men are actually trying to protect him, not kidnap him. And it just perfectly sets the mood of what this movie is going to ultimately deliver. So let's move on to number 9, and that is the Moonlight trailer number 1. Again, this is a trailer that perfectly sets up the mood, giving us clips from the 3 time periods that the film follows its main character, perfectly editing between them so we get to see like shots of him as a young child, as a teenager, and then in his 20s. Those are things that we get to see over the long haul, over 3 acts in the movie, but they do a really good job of editing it all together so we get to see those similarities back to back to back. And complementing it is just this great classical score that just does not seem to fit the images that we're seeing, and it's actually music from the film itself. We get that same feeling in the movie. This is another film that until I'd seen the trailer I knew nothing about, but I was intrigued. Even though I initially saw this trailer months before the film's release, it's a trailer that I never forgot. At number 8 we have 10 Cloverfield Lane official trailer number 1. Now this was a very special trailer because it dropped just weeks before the film's release. And the film itself was something that no one knew even existed, that had even been filmed, let alone was about to be released. Now, unfortunately, I saw this online before I saw it in theaters, so I knew by its title what the movie was. So that surprise was ruined for me. But if you didn't know that, if you got to see this for the first time in theaters, they do a wonderful job of telling you this story, and then only at the end give you that reveal that this is a Cloverfield movie. And regardless of how you feel about how they tied this in or didn't tie this into the original Cloverfield movie, this is still a great trailer. We get that opening close-up of the jukebox, which begins playing I Think We're Alone Now by Tommy James and the Shondells. And we just get to see these random clips. It's not even clear at first that they're in a bunker, although in retrospect it does give us that sort of Lost season 2 premiere in the hatch feel. Either way, we get these images and we just don't know when the other shoe is going to drop, and then the tempo of the song just starts falling, and it falls twice really, and both times is when the tension is building and we get to see that weird things are happening and that everything that we thought might be going on is not necessarily the case. And then Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character hits John Goodman's character with a glass, and the music cuts off, and we get that weird wah wah sound, and it just builds with her climbing up the stairs and looking out the window and covering her mouth in terror. And it just does such a great job of setting this movie up. And although maybe it would have been best if we could have gone into it not knowing that weird stuff was going to happen, but there's just no way to get someone to that kind of movie without giving away at least a little bit. Honestly, I went in fearing that the trailers had spoiled quite a bit, and it turned out they did a very good job of giving us some really good tastes of the craziness without giving us the context to it so we could go in and experience it in the movie. So although this was benefited by the surprise factor of the trailer release and the film reveal, the trailer itself holds up very well as an enticement to go see this movie. Now moving forward, the next 3 trailers all have one thing in common. They are red band trailers for comedies. And the first, at number 7, is Sausage Party. The incredibly vulgar, disgusting, depraved animated film from Seth Rogen and company, the guys that gave us This Is the End and The Interview. Now, as soon as we see the red band of the red band trailer, we know that the movie it's advertising is R-rated. But they do a really good job in the opening moments of this movie to make it feel like it's an average, standard animated film. It just has to do with food instead of toys or cars or pets or whatever else the kids movies are about. But then we get to the kitchen scene and the potato, and oh my god, does this trailer take a turn. And from there it's just depravity and curse words and violence and allusions to Saving Private Ryan and everything else that you could just possibly imagine in a trailer for a film that they're just trying to shock you as much as they can in the trailer itself before you even get to the movie. This is also another trailer where I was really worried that they had given away a lot. And frankly, they did a good job in this trailer of telling you, okay, this is what this movie is going to be. Where you're going to be watching a very R-rated, depraved animated film. But story-wise, it doesn't really give away anything. It gives away that one scene and the jokes in that scene. But it really doesn't give away a lot. It doesn't give away the villain. It doesn't give away the primary storyline. It doesn't give away a lot of the best jokes or the characters. So with that, I have to say, this is that's a problem with a lot of comedy trailers, is they do give away the best moments, and this is definitely not the case. Moving on to number 6, we have Deadpool red band trailer number 1. Now, if we were going for overall film marketing campaigns, Deadpool would win hands down. And honestly, I think this trailer actually kind of was hurt in my estimation. Why it's at number 6 and not lower is the fact that the overall campaign was so good that no one particular trailer just stood out to me. Now, this trailer does have a similar setup to the Sausage Party trailer, where you could be lulled into the idea, other than the red band warning, that this could be another average superhero movie. I mean, we have the one joke by Wade Wilson about him having cancer everywhere. But overall, the opening moments of this trailer are played pretty straight. And then we move into some of the one-liners about Posh Spice and Less Angry Rosie O'Donnell. And from there, we get an explosion, and then suddenly we're on the overpass. And it's a recreation of the leaked footage where he goes to town with the guys in the SUV. And following that, we just have action, great one-liners, and just everything that we need to know that this is an R-rated, again, depraved superhero movie that also does feel very much like the Deadpool comics. This was sort of the proof that, yes, these filmmakers got it and they were doing it right. And ultimately they did, because Deadpool was a great movie. Rounding out our trio of red band trailers, we have number 5, and that is The Nice Guys red band trailer. This was another film that I really knew nothing about until a friend of mine sent me the link, and I watched it and nearly died laughing, because this is an incredibly funny trailer. We just get some very fulfilling tastes of the great dialogue that we're going to get, the physical comedy, the great chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, and the overall feel that this is capturing that 1970s look. And like the previous 2 trailers, doesn't give away the best moments. And then it ends on possibly the best closing scene of a trailer on any of this list, when Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe's characters are at the bar, and Ryan talks about how no one got hurt, and they have that whole conversation. As I said, that's probably the best ending of any of the trailers on this list. Moving on to number 4, we have the Rogue One, a Star Wars story teaser trailer. Now, it might seem that a Star Wars movie needs no advertising, and that's probably true. But remember, this is the first anthology movie, the first non-saga movie. So we really didn't know what we were going to get out of this. We were promised that it was going to be different than the others, that they were going to be able to push some boundaries, do some things differently. But aside from the fact that we knew that this movie was going to focus on the mission to steal the Death Star plans preceding the original Star Wars movie, we knew nothing. We'd had promises up to this point that it was going to be more of a war movie, that it was going to be a little darker, all of this, but we had no evidence to back that up. So when this trailer hit and provided some concrete evidence that this film was actually going to deliver on those promises, I fell in love with it. Now, I have to admit that a lot of the footage in this trailer did not end up in the final movie. And that's because a lot of the footage in this is about the introduction of Jyn Erso, our main character. And a lot of that was changed with the fabled reshoots. Her introduction in the movie was drastically changed in those reshoots, as it's been very recently revealed. So while I could hold it against this trailer that a lot of its footage is not included in the final film, I don't really mind, because again, they did a great job of introducing us to this film, regardless of if the actual footage, the specific scenes, made it into the final movie. And that starts in the opening moments where we get that great piano version of the Star Wars theme. And then we get the introduction of what the mission's going to be, just in case you didn't know and you saw this trailer in theaters. And then we just get that great shot of the shadow over the Star Destroyer, and we see that it's the dish being installed into the Death Star, and we're like, oh my god, this really is about that mission. And from there, we get the alarm sound. And I saw some people that didn't like it. I loved it. That just sets the mood that this is going to be ominous. This is going to be dangerous. That's what an alarm means, danger. And that's what I felt. This is going to be a dangerous mission. And they so captured that well in this. And we get to see some random scenes of action. We get a few clips of characters that at this point we knew nothing about. But overall, it just looked like it was going to be a really good Star Wars movie. And that it ends on another great riff of the Star Wars theme. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning, I love music and trailers, and I love the two riffs that they use on the Star Wars theme in this trailer. And music plays a key role in the next trailer, number 3, The Accountant, trailer number 1. And really, the audio in general is important in this trailer. We get the opening shot of the Warner Brothers logo as puzzle pieces, and then we get the very loud windshield wipers playing over a scene that we're not really getting any other dialogue until the father character begins talking. But that whole opening scene is dominated by those windshield wipers. It's a powerful introduction to this movie. And the father's speech ends with "make a choice," and from there we almost go immediately into a very interesting slowed down cover of Radiohead's Everything in Its Right Place, which admittedly is a little on the nose when it comes to themes, but I just can't imagine this trailer with any other song because it just works so well. Again, they do a really good job of not spoiling things. There's one scene that's like a second or two long that did give me an idea of where one of the plot threads was going to go, and I was right. Normally I would hold it against it more, but I just love this trailer. It just works so well. It just gives us a great introduction to the main character, the story. It does not lie. I think apparently a lot of people went into this movie either expecting all action or all drama. I didn't get that idea. I got that this was going to be what it was, a combination of a great sort of crime psychological thriller mixed with a good action movie, and ultimately that's what I got. Obviously this was a film that divided audiences, or at least divided critics and audiences. I loved it. It's going to most likely be on my top 10 list, and pretty high at that. But a lot of critics hated it. I don't know, but I like the movie and I love the trailer. Moving on to number 2, we have a trailer that for a large portion of this list's existence was at number 1, and got bumped down to number 2 at the last minute, and this trailer is Sully. I will say this is a trailer, when I first saw it, gave me more goosebumps and chills and just like riveted me more so than any other trailer on this list. It just was a phenomenal trailer. Again, the music. I'm not 100% sure if the music was actually from the film itself. Either way, it's great. We open up with the voiceover of Tom Hanks playing Captain Sullenberg, sort of describing the situation. This was an event, the Miracle on the Hudson, that pretty much everyone knows. We know how it ends. We know it ends happily. So how do you build tension in that? In the film, we had to rely on the skills of director Clint Eastwood as well as the script and the actors. They pulled it off. But in this trailer alone, they do a great job of building an incredible amount of tension for an event that we know ends happily. The music just builds perfectly as we go through, and then we just get that monumental moment when Tom Hanks's character goes, brace for impact. And the one passenger, she just like, what? And then the stewardess are going, brace, brace, brace. My God, I watch that trailer on my computer at home and I get goosebumps because it is so perfectly crafted. This was a film I already wanted to go see, but when I saw the trailer, I was sold even more. And that's the only reason why this is number 2 and not number 1, just because I already wanted to go see it. Which brings us to number 1. This was a trailer that might not be as good as the Sully trailer, but it's a trailer that got me to go to a movie that I would never have otherwise gone to. I've discussed previously, I'm not a fan of horror. I don't do horror. It's just not a genre I enjoy. So I rarely go see the movies because I honestly am not going to be able to give it a truly unbiased opinion because it's a genre I just don't like. But when I saw the trailer for The Witch, the original number 1 trailer, which actually debuted in 2015, but it's for a 2016 movie, so I think it deserves to be on this list. This is just a trailer that developed such a sense of dread and horror and uncomfortableness. There's just so many just scenes that they do such a great job. The music, once again, the choice of voiceover dialogue from the movie, the particular scenes, everything about this movie just creeps you out. And again, as someone who's not a fan of horror, I saw this trailer and went, I have to go see this movie. And I did. And loved the movie. This is also one of those movies that really divided audiences. But this is, again, a film that has a very good shot of possibly making my top 10 for 2016. And I went to go see it. The only reason I went to go see it was this trailer. And that is why it is my number 1 trailer for 2016. So what did you think of my list? I know any kind of list whatsoever is going to cause controversy, possibly. Some people are not going to like where certain trailers were listed. Some people are probably not going to like the fact that some trailers were left off. I might have forgotten a trailer or two. I try to go through and look at every possible trailer. The Witch was actually one that I initially forgot to include, and ultimately it was my number 1. So again, what did you think of this list? What would you have added that I didn't add? What was your favorite trailer of 2016? As always, you can subscribe to my channel, check out some of my reviews, and until next time, I'll see you at the movies.